Hello everyone, this is Rajdeep Bavaliya, a Master of Arts student at MK Bhavnagar University. Welcome to our special virtual Teachers Day celebration for 2024. Today we are going to dive into a beautiful poem by William Wordsworth, The Solitary Reaper. So without further ado, let's get started. So the title slide, The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth. These are the information, table of contents, questions to be addressed, introduction. So, The Solitary Reaper is a mesmerizing poem by the English poet William Wordsworth. The poem was inspired by the poet's trip to Scotland in 1803 with his sister Dorothy Wordsworth. It was first published in 1807. In the poem, the speaker tries and fails to describe the song he heard a young woman singing as she cuts grain in a Scottish field. The speaker does not understand the song and he cannot tell what it was about, nor can he find the language to describe its beauty. He finds that the traditional poetic metaphors for a beautiful song fail him. The poem thus calls implicity for a new kind of poetry, one that is better able to approximate and describe the pure, unpretentious beauty of the reaper's song. About the author, William Wordsworth from 1770 to 1850 was a pioneer of English Romanticism, a movement that emphasized emotion, imagination, and a deep connection to nature. Born in the Lake District of England, Wordsworth's work often celebrated the beauty of the natural world and the experiences of common people. His most famous work include lyrical ballads, co-written with S.T. Coleridge, and The Prelude, an epic poem that explores the growth of a poet's mind. In 1843, Wordsworth was honored as Poet Laureate of the England, cementing his legacy as one of the most significant figures in English literature. Summary: The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth is written as a recollection of an overwhelming emotional experience. It is about the song sung by a solitary reaper. The solitary reaper was singing and doing her work without minding anyone. But the poet was observing her, mesmerizing by the song. He compares her song to that of nightingale and the cuckoo bird. Yet he states that her song is the best, despite the poet's inability to decipher the song's meaning. He understands that it is a song of melancholy. The poet listened motionlessly until he left the place, but the song never left him. Even after a long time he has come away from that place. He says he could still listen. The song continued to echo in his heart long after it is heard no more. The beautiful experience left a deep impact and gave him a long lasting pleasure. Analysis Stanza 1. In the first stanza of the poem, Wordsworth describes how the reaper was singing all alone during one of his journeys in the countryside of Scotland. He saw a Highland girl working in the field all alone. She had no one to help her out in the field. So she was singing to herself. She was singing without knowing that someone was listening to her song. The poet doesn't want to disturb her solitude, so requests the passerbyers go without disturbing her. She was immersed in her work of cutting and binding while singing a melancholy song. For the poet, he is so struck by the sad beauty of her song that the whole valley seems to overflow with its sound. Stanza 2. In the second stanza of The Solitary Reaper, the poet compares the young woman's song with nightingale and cuckoo, the most celebrated birds by the writers and poets for the sweetness of voice. But here he complains that neither nightingale nor the cuckoo sang a song that is as sweet as hers. He says that no nightingale has sung the song so soothing like that for the very travellers, for the song of the girl has stopped him from going about his business. He is utterly enchanted that he says that her voice is so thrilling and penetrable like that of the cuckoo bird, which sings to break the silence in the Hebrides island. He symbolically puts forth that her voice is so melodious and more than that of the two birds known for their voice. Stanza 3. In the third stanza, the poet depicts his plight over not understanding the theme or language of the poem. The poet could not understand the local Scottish dialect in which he, Reaper, was singing, so tries to imagine what the song might be about. Given that it is a plaintive number and a melancholy strain, as given in line 6, he speculates that her song might be about some past sorrow, pain, or loss of old unhappy things, or battles fought long ago. Or perhaps he says it is a humbler, simpler song about some present sorrow, pain, or loss, a matter of today. He further wonders if that is about something that has happened in the past or something that has recurred now. Stanza 4. In the fourth stanza, the poet decides not to probe further into the theme. He comes to the conclusion that whatever may be the theme of her poem, it is not going to end. Not only her song, but also her suffering sounds like a never ending one. He stays there motionless and listened to her song quite sometimes. Even when he left and mounted up the hill, he could still hear her voice coming amongst the produce. She was cutting and binding. Though the poet left that place, the song remained in his heart long after he heard that song. Now, key literary devices used in the poem. The solitary reaper uses straightforward language and meter as well as natural theme and imagery. Once again, Wordsworth reflected his belief in the importance of the natural world. The poem highlights his definition of poetry to be a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings from the poet and the reader's part. Rhyme scheme. Each stanza of the Solitary Reaper is 8 lines long. The 8 lines stanzas may be divided in half, yielding two 4 lines units. In the first 4 lines of each stanza, the poem employs a crisscross rhyme in which rhymes ABCB or ABAB. In the second 4 lines of each stanza, the poem rhymes subsequent lines, producing DDEE or CCDD depending on the stanza. Apostrophe. The poem Solitary Reaper begins with an apostrophe, behold, where the poet addresses the unknown passerby. He uses it again in the 7th line, oh listen, telling them how the valley is filled with the sound of her. Other figures of speech like allusion, alliteration, and assonance further bring the scene to life, allowing us to feel the poet's awe and wonder. Symbolism or metaphor. The poet makes a symbolic comparison of the young woman's song with nightingale and cuckoo bird for the melodious nature of her song, but it turns out to be a hyperbole for exaggerates that her song is better than theirs. The poet very much captivated by her song that the valley is overflowing with the sound. Again he says that the song looked like a never sending us her sorrows. Rhetorical questions. The rhetorical question helps to make the point clear. For example, Wordsworth used, "Will no one tell me what she sings? That has been any maybe again, and familiar matter of today." It to express his curiosity over the theme and meaning of the song the girl sang. Imagery. The imagery used in a literary work enables the readers to perceive things involving their five senses. For example, reaping and singing by herself. "I saw her singing at her work," and "more welcome notes to weary bands" gives a pictorial description of the young woman at work. He makes the readers visualize what he has seen and how he felt. Other literary devices like enjambment and stopped line, caesura, and polyptoton contribute to the poem's overall effect, making it a timeless piece of romantic literature. Conclusion. So, in the conclusion of the poem Solitary Reaper, Wordsworth masterfully captures a moment of profound beauty and emotion. The poem invites us to pause and appreciate the simple yet powerful experiences that life offers. It reminds us that even in the most solitary of moments, there is a deep connection between nature and music and the human soul, a connection that can leave an everlasting imprint on our hearts. These are the references. So, before you go, I have prepared a quiz on this topic where you can test your knowledge and even earn a certificate. I have also created a TED-Ed lesson for a deeper discussion. You will find both links in the description below. I would be grateful for you to take the quiz and join the conversation on TED-Ed. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.